on this Good Friday afternoon, April 3rd, 2026, presented by Anime North. This is the Anime Roundtable Canada. Check us out on our linktree page for links to everything Anime Roundtable, from our emails, blogs, and podcast sites to our streaming sites on Twitch and YouTube, video and socials, animeroundtable.com. Well, we made it. 1 month, well, our 20th anniversary episode and episode 100 of the of version 2.
I think that deserves a sound effect.
Yeah, we'll put it in post because I don't know what's buttons what here right now. Yeah, we'll hit a ding on that. Well, we're 1 month late on both, right?
I mean, we're not late.
We're
not late.
And we're doing five of us again with 4 mics. But what are you about to say, Mo?
I was gonna say it's better late than never.
Yeah, it is better late than never. But I mean, it's just nice to get around, get the mics going again. Even though I had to double check my settings. We have a lot to say about what happened last month when James and I were testing out the...
What are you talking about? Last month was awesome. I didn't hear any hisses.
I actually got...
You're saying St. Patrick got all the snakes out?
He did indeed get all the snakes out.
Yeah. I actually got an email for this, and I will reply to that personally when later in the weekend, I hope, if I have time. But it is all 5 of us as we sit here at 6 points, 10 minutes south of the Anime North compound in Toronto's West End. So the gang's all here. Mike Nicolas, James Austin, on the iPhone side again.
Oh, damn, you're right. This happened last time too.
Yeah.
Only this time, no spillage.
But Mohamed Sharmarke with a sealed cup. Kevin Ng, Amy-Lynn, Greig. And happy anniversary. Once again, a belated happy anniversary. How do you want me to start the look back off with you guys on 20 years? Do you want me to start with asking you guys asking thoughts from you guys, or do you want me to quickly bring up Neil?
What? Oh, you're the
No,
host.
you tell me, because I do have a Neil story.
I think a Neil story would be fantastic, Mike.
I do have a quick Neil story, because Neil has been occupied the last little while with
taking over the world.
Well, he is considered. What? His plotting has continued.
So wait, so what were you gonna say though?
Neil's taking over the world, right?
Yeah. So I considering the state of the world, we might need him.
Pinky in the brain, like
of course.
Back in the day, one of the more popular adult hentais that came out, we're talking almost 30 years ago now.
Bible Black?
No, it wasn't hentai versus what other kind of hentai?
Thank you so much. I was being redundant.
There was normal preschool hentai.
Being redundant.
I know children hentai.
No, there are hentai that are popular and hentai that are not as popular.
Yeah. No, one of the more
I thought adult and older adult.
I thought we talked about anime is hentai, isn't it?
now many. I think this predates some of us around this table. End of Summer. I don't know how many will recognize that title.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was a soft sell title. So ADV's then Adult Arm.
Soft Cell Pictures, man. What a throwback.
Yeah, End of Summer. That was based on a game called Dokusei, right?
Oh yeah, I know Dokusei. Yeah.
Now you know, right?
Yeah. I'm older than I let on.
Yeah. And Neil, I know was a fan of that. Because he liked his vanilla along with whatever Oretsuka Doji would have probably offered. I was looking around recently, and I didn't realize that Dokusei had recently been remade in the last couple years.
Really?
Yes. And on top of that, there is an updated animated version of it too.
Well, I know what I'm doing when I get home.
Well, they've updated quite a few visual novels, Mike.
Yeah, they've updated it quite. Yeah,
I was going to tell you one I've been playing recently. Do you remember Da Capo? So I've been
Da Capo.
Da Capo was one of the first.
So it is in English. You can get the Japanese version in English from Bushiroad, and it's been enjoyable playing that because never released in the West. But if you remember, Mike, back over 20 years ago, probably 2003, 2004, the fan subs were out there.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
was
how
I was about to say that was one of the first digital fan subs.
I remember perpetually being upset for maybe from the mid 2000s to like the mid 2010s because all these other random ass anime from 2004 would license, but Decappa would never get licensed. And I always assumed there was a reason why. Like I always assumed like the rights were either just way too expensive or Circus or whoever produced the anime just didn't want it out.
But yeah, Circus is a part of Bushiroad and all that, so they've remade that. They've done some other remakes and stuff like that. I know recently.
And of course, there's no H scenes.
Yeah. So
Because I'm assuming if they were gonna put it out, I don't think they would have made it anymore.
It's an all ages version,
Yeah.
but it's still fun. You know what I mean?
So where I was on this, it basically goes something like this. I'm just gonna.
Kotori's best girl in Decapo. Yeah.
We're gonna have that discussion, right? No,
Wait. Who's best girl for Decapo for you?
I don't like. It's all blurry to me. I'm old.
So Kotori was like the long red haired girl.
It's so blurry. It really is. Look, where I was going with this was, and Elf had long gone under, right? So so other publishers gained the rights. Kevin, he has to take a cough. Where I was on this was the remake. The remake was out. It's been out for a couple years. So and the name of the game, out of all things, it's called Dokusei Bangin' Summer. Out of all things to call it. Out of all things to call
Now I
it.
remember why that new. And I'm like the subtitle. Once you said that, it's like now I know what you're talking about.
So it is out. I think it's out for Switch. I know it's out for
Steam and stuff like
Steam.
that. But
Steam
you have to.
Steam has a patch where you can add the adult.
Well, you
content.
basically go to outside of Steam and
Yeah.
you have to get a patch for them to then patch Steam because they would not allow it.
Yeah,
18
and
plus.
then I know it's on PS4, on PlayStation as well.
And then Decapo though doesn't have that because it was just purely all ages from the ground up. I'm assuming.
I'm not sure if they ended up getting that on Steam for Bushiroad. I would assume they did, but I know they have the Switch version and stuff like that, and that's the all ages, which a lot of them bring over as is and stuff like that.
I'm gonna have to do more research into Decapo.
Anyway,
So did Neil produce this game or
well,
something?
so going back to Neil on this story.
Go ahead.
I would
told
want
Neil,
that man's autograph if he did.
I tell Neil about that, and I shit you not, this was his response. I shit you not, this is exactly what he typed out to me when I told him this. What I just told you. Quote, "That's horrible." Is there an English port? Which I already answered for you. And then he assured me he'll find a way to find it.
There's always a way.
And there's always a way, and yeah. So that's the quick Neil story I have there. 20 years after, and I guess before the year goes out, we'll try and have him on again. Which is an ongoing pursuit.
I love how nostalgia is now even playing into like H visual novels where they're just remaking some of these classic ones now. Love it.
Could they make School Days any more graphic, by the way?
It's not old enough.
Okay.
Give me my Bible Black remake and then I might have to buy that game for a second time.
But I guess the idea is you can do the PC, but now they have other things like the Switch, which is still doing well in Japan, where they can bring the all ages versions. I think that helps them too, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
where it
'cause
brings
when-
it to a nice quality that people can play on the go.
Because when it's like a fantasy or just a regular vanilla high school romance series, then yes, the all ages is always a good thing to do. Obviously, when you look at more risque stuff like a Bible Black, yeah, you can't make an all ages version of that. You just can't.
So you're talking about adult hentai then?
As opposed to non-adult hentai.
That's the jokes earlier.
Okay, so that said, I brought up Neil for 20 years. Do you three have thoughts for 20 years? Since James and I kind of went on that in the Space Heater last time.
I'm still kind of pissed Jack Layton didn't win that election, man. Like, what the fuck?
It's been that long. Yeah, it has been that long. Well, his widow is making waves.
True.
You know, that reminds me of how I had a dinner with friends last month. My friends will never listen to this, so it's okay. I have a friend who makes me wonder if he just votes on vibes because he does lean conservative, or if he just hates Olivia because he made a comment saying how like, oh, Olivia did nothing for the city of Toronto. And then I think to myself, you clearly have not, you've done no research, A, and B, like the media you consume is clearly not, well, okay, almost all media is biased, I'll be honest, but like the media you consume has clearly influenced you to think this, because like clearly he didn't know that by getting Doug to take over the cost of operating and maintaining the Don Valley Parkway and the Garden Expressway, it saved the city hundreds of millions of dollars, and he doesn't know this. And I had to tell him this, and therefore you can't say Olivia did nothing for the city of Toronto.
And then out the airport.
I mean, in his defense, I mean, he probably doesn't feel the effects of what she did. I feel like a lot of people don't really feel these effects.
They don't. But like they'll always hear about how, oh yeah, like they had to spend money on this and this, but then they ignore like the other things that they did. It's just, it's
anyway.
It sucks because I know she's done stuff. We all know she's done stuff because she's been mayor for years now.
A couple of years, yeah.
But it doesn't feel like she's done stuff, and I think that's the vibe situation. You're right about that, and it sucks. But you know, she needs to do stuff like New York does stuff. You know, like just be out there saying you've done stuff. If you say it enough times, people will believe it. You know.
Yeah, because when I asked him, would you rather have our previous adulterer mayor to be the comeback? He said yes, and I'm like, what are you smoking? And can I have some? Okay, I'm gonna stop. Because
so any other 20-year reflections? Yeah.
How is that a 20-year reflection?
I know.
I'm sorry to ask.
Okay,
A thought for a 20.
Okay.
Do you have a 20-year thought or?
It was fun when we did this back then. Bethune, Yama, that was fun. Good times, good memories. You know, 20 years, it's all good.
I mean, Amy sat in the audience. Like she would come to the tapings.
Were you a president at some point?
At some point, yeah.
Yes, she was.
So it's interesting. About a week ago, I got an email from a former student.
Vlad?
No. I don't have that level of time travel ability yet. It's very limited. But she was a student of mine, I think 2 years ago or so, and she's now art director of Yama.
Right on.
So very awkward as a trans woman of her looking through the photos and identifying me. Although she did have me the year before I transitioned, so I felt a little bit better.
So
there.
she knew about your
Oh yeah, no, she was there. She was there the year after as well. So you know, she.
No, I mean
it wasn't
she knew you once were with
at
the
Yama, yeah. And then she asked like, "Oh, I'm so curious about what Yama was like back then." So I sent her an email.
Photos. Oh.
Yeah, so I went through an email, just you know, writing to her about the you know, what things were like and how, you know, back then I imagined showings were a bigger deal.
We had the library, of course,
yeah,
because remember
the
that would
library's
help
still
us
there,
for
but
manga. We were trying to grow the library like
now
manga
it's too
and
big.
anime. You know,
The library is a bit much.
And I was
now.
able to talk about how, like, when I was there, we were in the process of getting rid of VHSs. Which would have been 2008, I guess. So like when the clubroom moved, that was sort of the opportunity of like, we have less space in this
because remember how big it was originally with the 4 clubs that were in there, and then they kind of halved it off, and then I remember you guys there was still the same number built, but very tight.
Yeah, because it was very much split accommodations. Like we had our own sections as Yama, and then when the if for whatever reason there are new listeners, Yama is the York Anime Club, York University Anime Club. And when the remodel happened, it was a lovely room that seemed new and fancy. But there was one shared couch for all 4 clubs, and it was, I would say, smaller than half the size of the original space. So it did lead to a little bit of contention with the other clubs, nothing that we couldn't handle. And I did mention to this student about how there was weird historic animosity with JISA, which was the Japanese Student Association, and how I mentioned your panel and how despite the fact that there was animosity with JISA, Yama still had deeper connections with the consulate at first. Like it was, I don't know how much, the student hasn't responded to me yet. This was just last week. But hopefully I provided an interesting history lesson. But I mentioned, we did a podcast recording. So yeah, like to speak of that, like I remember being so excited about like, oh, I get to listen to a podcast. And I've, reflected on this several times at different anniversaries, but I think my very first episode, I actually tried to argue with Adam because he had the audacity to say that 90s cartoons were worse than 80s cartoons, which I guess was just a generational divide. But like I remember saying, like, are you serious? Like Pinky and the Brain and Gargoyles are worse than Thundercats? How are you going to argue this? But position I still hold. The 2000s Thundercats, that's great. Only one season, didn't do well. But anyways, and it was great being an audience member. I like that little guest, appearance that I had. This was, I'd say, one of the first places, not that our audience is huge, but like I made a coming out episode, which was kind of fun to record. I have fought against you guys about your, like, what was the series that you tried to defend, Shield Hero or not Act Age?
Oh, Rising of the Shield
Rising
Hero?
of the Shield Hero, yeah. Still not going to let all of you live that down. Not that you were strictly defending it, but you weren't admonishing it as much as I felt you should. So that's earlier when we were planning the show notes, I said, it's today's episode, possibly the return of woke Amy. I thought about that. So like it's been great, and I also want to. This is complete tangent. But I want to mention that Mike feels like he's wearing the roundtable uniform to me right now. Like for some reason, I connect you with like that red.
So true. That's so true.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
good.
so
So
true.
what was
Now you're gonna say he's like the Tiger Woods uniform of podcasts. It's like, don't be like Tiger Woods, Mike. We know what
I
happened.
associate Mike with that outfit,
We're
especially
wearing a red
especially
golf
with
shirt, sure.
Whenever
we do the
podcasting.
podcast.
Yeah, no, you have the collar yet.
Oh boy. And Tiger Woods, the jokes sometimes write itself with Tiger Woods too. Yama, it's always worth mentioning, Yama, the York Club, will celebrate 30 years next year as well, much like Anime North. It is a few months older than Anime North. So to talk about the ties between that club and AN, whether they're real, whether like which have now been kind of lost to time, right?
Well, I think it was all the clubs, because if I remember correctly, right, Mike, it was obviously UFT, probably
Utarpa.
all the other ones like Ryerson. I know they probably still had some involvement at one point, probably later on, but it was a lot of the clubs bringing Anime North to life in a way, right?
Yeah,
Some of them, and we were doing
like,
different things like showings and that, right?
I want to save this part of the conversation for actually next year. Okay. Like for the anniversary, for the 30th. Because yes, the clubs were a thing. And obviously you don't think too much about them now. So where did that stop? And I think that's a bit of a story. And in talking to some of the top people within AN, both Erwin Tan, the con chair, and Eileen McAvoy. And this is like, you make me think of a conversation I had with them last year about how that all happened and how AN kind of evolved.
Well, even when I was starting to go to AN, or maybe when I was first going to Yama, I feel that there were remnants of Yama's deep involvement with AN. Like I'm mostly thinking about the all-night showings and the game shows, right?
And the game shows in that were CN Anime, which was the precursor to Fan Expo, because we did that for a number of years before it kind of petered out as well.
And one thing that I mentioned to that former student was that that's part of why I loved Yama, was that it kind of had a little bit of that Anime North feel throughout the year. So if you think back to 2005, Anime North, if anyone is old enough to remember that, I'm guessing with this podcast audience there would be, but the showings were still a big part of Anime North at that time. Like access to a lot of these shows, this was very relatively early in torrenting and streaming being a thing.
So we were still on physical media.
Yeah, I mentioned, I watched Host Club on YouTube. And, because of that, I also think about Anime North having game shows, having things like the podcast, and panels and discussions. And you can't get that outside of Anime North, aside from places like an anime club for the most part. These days, I'm sure Discord and online places do exist, but it's obviously not the same. And there are much more smaller conventions now, and even large conventions that are throughout the year. It seems like there are more these days than there was. But especially Anime North and how it feels. I feel that an anime club replicates that. It's nothing like Fan Expo, but the more human elements of Anime North that I've spent hours on this podcast championing, there was crossover there for sure.
Mm-hmm. And as I said, Yama's one of the oldest, and of that group, probably the only one left amongst the group that were there to see the first Anime North.
And I guess a lot of us, as we said, kept on trying to keep it going, and it's been good that people are still doing that even now and stuff like that. And it's obviously different, as we said, but I think when you were talking about Anime North and that, the one thing is you take the good and the bad. And do you guys remember when we went and did Kon no Baka at the Delta, or the Doubletree as it was way back when? Oh man, obviously it was a disaster, but we had some good memories after thinking about years later.
And I know that the person who headed that is no longer with us.
I know. It's when I heard he had passed, I'm like, oh man.
So there's a lot going on there. So there's
1 year.
Yeah, it was the one where the funds got stolen. Then I guess they basically canceled us. Yeah, it was in November. They canceled it, I think, by the Saturday night because they ended up kicking us out so these Christmas parties could come in and stuff like that.
Can you read
and
that?
It was
Actually, 2005.
Can you read that?
Yeah.
And then read the reason why it discontinued.
So it says, Kon no Baka was an anime convention held in Toronto, November 2005, that is infamously remembered for collapsing before the weekend ended. The event suffered from poor organization, failed to provide promised resources to guests, and was shut down before its scheduled conclusion, with nearby conventions offering to honor their passes. And so, yeah.
Wow.
And that was from the 25th, 26th, 2005. And yeah, because we did some game shows for them and stuff like that. And we did it up until, I think, the Saturday night. And they said, you know what? It's not going to happen tomorrow. So you guys can leave. So we took our cue to leave. We asked if they wanted help, but there was nothing there to do. And then they had people that came on the same morning, and they felt really bad because obviously they had to tell them that unfortunately they weren't going to be there on Sunday.
I'll be honest. This is the first I'm kind of hearing about some of these stories. Are you scarred from this?
No, well, it was interesting. Like some of the hotel rooms, I think, were scarred from that experience. I'm glad they allowed Anime North to continue at the DoubleTree because I think like there were some plugged up toilets and all that from my room.
boy.
But
Well,
all of it was
and I
held
joke-
within the DoubleTree. So
And I always make and remember the bad joke I had last year at Anime North because I said all of that, the plumbing at that point at AN, like the plumbing at AN last year in the Delta Hotel, like the water pressure was
What is going
Was
on?
weak?
had
What
its
is-
issues.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I made the joke. It took 2 flushes at the time.
Oh.
That's the it took 2 flush
I
joke.
thought you
I
were
had.
Oh.
just.
How did the hotel survive the Homestuck era?
I'd like to know myself. I'd like to know myself.
I thought you were just
Anyway.
hinting at something else, Mike, which I will
But
not
no,
say.
but it wasn't like when I was in the washrooms had a number of plumbing issues that weekend. So at least things that stuck out to me, so to speak.
Mike, can we just keep talking about convention failures instead of moving on to murder suicide?
Yeah, that's what we're
so
good.
much more wholesome.
Oh, it is so much more wholesome.
it was a simpler time.
Yes,
Yeah, it was a
Especially
simpler
when I
time.
remember
We'll go back. I think
Convention's collapsing.
I know we'll lighten it up a bit later on, especially since we talked about going from physical to streaming eras. And I know we'll hint. I know that the Crunchyroll Award nominees were announced yesterday. We'll go to that at the end of the episode.
You mean the My Hero Awards, right?
Yeah.
This is a random fact that I'm probably going to keep mentioning over and over again because I find it delightful, and I'm assuming our audience maybe wouldn't know this, but the co-founder of DashCon, the Tumblr convention, is
wow.
also the only person who is permitted to study a rare subspecies of raccoons, and was the primary scientist who debunked the rumor that raccoons are being domesticated in Toronto and North America in general. So I love that combination of fandom and actual zoology that is going on in the world.
I know you're into that too.
It's like we'll wait for next century. Then maybe our forefathers or whatever, will have raccoons taking care of them.
Anyway, so there's that.
The name?
Yeah.
Lachlan O'Neill?
Okay, is that person we're talking about? I'm assuming.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right. I guess, as I said, yeah, you're right. Going from failed conventions to, unfortunately, murder-suicide.
Wait.
Oh, do you?
I didn't give my retrospect.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You do have one finally. No. Okay. Cool. One retrospect for the anniversary, and then we'll start talking the more serious. We'll start talking crime in Japan right after.
I wonder if Jack
fandom.
Layton knew about Anime North.
So, I will say as the outsider in this group, as some may or most likely won't know, but one or two people may know that are listening, that I was initially a listener. I actually don't remember how I found out about this podcast anymore, but I found it, listened to it. I think I started listening in the 20s, as in like episode 22 or 23 or 24. I want to say it was the episode before Adam debuted.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking, like, we talked about, or you guys talked about, anime, manga related stuff from a local standpoint. And, at this point I was like a big Bionics kid in high school, like just watching any anime I could. And I thought, oh, there's other people that are into this stuff too, that are not very far away from me. And I remember in 12th grade, I did a trip. I actually did commute to York to catch an episode live. I remember.
I think that's where that's where we first met you.
I believe so, yeah.
You sat in that classroom as we taped an episode.
October-ish?
It's probably October, November. I want to say it was in the club office. I remember being in the club office.
Was
when
it
you
the
do one of
club
those
office? Oh
recordings.
yeah, there was a point where we started taping the episodes in the Yama Club office.
Yeah, so it wasn't a Yama Club office taping. I do remember this distinctly.
Okay.
And
Because I think at a point we were kicked out of the classrooms. That's why, or they wouldn't get Linda to us, and they had to lock them.
eventually I would go to the Anime North recordings. as well.
The biggest audiences we ever had, by the way.
Episode 50 was definitely the biggest audience you've ever had.
And the biggest headache, I must add.
That was a magical night.
Oh, boy.
Episode 50? The magical lost
The version 1,
No,
yeah.
the true Lost episode happened in the 70s where Mike did, it was the last recording with Neil and Adam and Mike cannot find this episode supposedly.
Yeah, it was like before. It was one of the last episodes we did before Purgatory.
Before you went on a hiatus, yes.
Yeah, before the show went, and basically the very end, near the end of version 1.
And then we never heard from Adam again.
Well, he fights his own battles. He's out there still.
Are you
fighting,
sure? I mean,
yeah,
I haven't
very
seen him.
much.
Maybe,
Very much.
And-
We hear from his loved ones.
And I just remember being so engaged when I was listening and like writing in comments on the old website and eventually getting to talk to everyone. And that's why, like, you know, in version 2, when you offered to let me come on for recordings, I was like, oh, this is so cool. Yeah, it was, you know, I'm happy to be here. I'm always thankful you let me come on. And, you know, I hope we do this for a while yet.
Yeah, I think we have been invited to Anime North again.
It's usually, it's a given now.
It's not always a given, you know. It's not always a given. Anytime we're invited is always a pleasure, and we thank Anime North for letting us come back every year, time and time again. Thank you very much.
Well,
This is where we put the disclaimer that we are the official podcast of Anime North.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess we'll talk a little bit about the latest from AN a bit later too. Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's, as I say, yeah, I hope we go a little bit longer with this whole thing, in whatever form we do. I mean, that's why sometimes the Twitch stream has started, just because maybe it's a good way to do just do something as well. Like maybe that's the on my mind now, right? The solo shots that if I speak by myself, that's basically it. When we do,
and you can work your way through Yakuza.
and then eventually, but when I get time is a precious thing.
Yes, it
But
is.
usually when I do streams and talk about what a headline that caught my attention, it's always with the intention that there's a longer talk about that coming up with the others, right? Sadly, the last stream I did was on the anniversary back on March 2nd. I haven't done a stream since.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit, and
Yeah,
maybe
some
I got a
tragedies
few more,
happened since
and
then.
maybe I'll show, and maybe next time it's another show and tell. We'll talk, and we'll do something happier. But many things have happened since then, and I wish I was able to come on and talk about that back then, especially in what's happened in the last week and a half. We have to get a little bit heavy because we have to kind of acknowledge these the last couple stories.
So
the
now
bigger
we're
headlines.
becoming a true crime podcast.
I
We're
mean-
going after all those viewers, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's where we're going with this, but okay. March 26th, the Pokemon Center incident, the Pokemon Center stabbing, murder, and I guess subsequent suicide.
That was the Sunshine City one, was it?
Is that
Yeah, that's
okay?
what I
So
was
what do
gonna
we
say,
know
the
about these locations? Like, if anybody, feel free to come in on this.
I was there in December.
Okay.
It is a pretty big mall, and they have the cafe there as well, if I recall correctly. My friends and I spent like I think 2 hours at that Pokemon Center.
And I think it was one of the original Pokemon centers,
It's
right?
one of the
Because
larger
you know what I
ones,
mean,
too.
larger ones, and then they've obviously spread out through Japan and stuff like that and other areas.
That one is near or in Ikebukuro, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Ikebukuro is the Sunshine City location.
So,
And for those of you who may be older, most Pokemon, or maybe haven't been to Japan in maybe a couple decades, I'd say most Pokemon Center stores now are within malls. When they first started, they were standalone locations.
Basically
but
on
I
the
think,
street.
yeah. But as of now, I think most, if not all of them, are within malls or other like large multi-store settings.
So does that say a lot about its mainstream appeal?
No, because there's like triple the amount of Pokemon centers now. I think it's more just Japan has limited space for things, right? There are very few sort of standalone specialty shops these days. Like when I first went to Japan, there was an entire Tamagotchi shop, right? Versus now there are still a few, but like, you know, the last time I was there, I'm pretty sure it's closed now, but in 2017-18, they had a Tales of shop, but it was a floor above another anime shop, like a more general one. So there are a lot of, like, I think the trend has been moving more towards cafes and pop-ups and away from sort of set locations.
And permanence.
I don't know about the Nintendo store, if that's a separate building or if that's also in a mall. And I'm not talking about the museum because they have a gift shop, obviously.
Talking about the Tokyo, because they have 3 now in Japan for the Nintendo stores. They have Tokyo, they have Osaka, and they have Kyoto. And actually, there might be a 4th. I can't remember. They read that.
Kyoto makes sense, though, when you think about it.
Obviously,
historically, yeah.
And it was obviously them expanding on the idea that Nintendo of America did with the Nintendo store in New York and stuff like that. And they've taken it global. San Francisco now has one. I know they've done pop-ups in the UK. Maybe one day we'll get those kiosks we used to have that kind of went around Canada, which were kind of nice.
Better than EB Games bootleg one that was at the Eden Center.
So, there's been this talk over the last number of months here also about card shops and crimes in card shops as well.
Yes.
So I just want to get a sense for somebody like myself who's never been to a Pokemon Center. How do they differ? How does like a card shop that we know it here and then a Pokemon
centers they're everything like that.
I was going to say they're everything for merchandise.
Yeah, like
and they probably would have got a boost in March because remember Pokopia or whatever it was came out at the beginning and people weren't sure how that was going to do, and supposedly it was just taking off. They ran out of Switch cards and stuff like that. That people said
so well.
That people said, oh, they're never going to buy the game key cards. Well, they bought the game key cards for this one.
Some people broke for Pokopia.
And there were deals, I know, on the eShop cards in Canada this month. So people were doing that so they could buy Pokopia and stuff like that. So it definitely would take off with the Pokemon centers because I think they were doing certain special merchandise and stuff like that. What was it the Ghost Pikachu or that one?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's several like original
designs.
Those
ones,
It's difficult to describe a Pokemon Center because I don't think we have anything comparable here. Like even something like a Lego store, it just sells Lego boxes. Like it would be different if if you imagine like a Lego store was like 10 times the size and had an entire section or wing for Lego t-shirts and things like that, it might be similar. But like Pokemon Center stores, they have kitchenware, they have ceramics, they have clothing, they have like endless plushies.
They have a Disney store.
I think Disney store is probably, they don't exist anymore here in Canada, but
they closed it?
All of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's probably the closest comparable thing that we've had, at least here in the GTA.
At least, and thank you.
But on a much larger scale.
I have to speak on this because I've never been to one, so I do need a reference point.
As a long-time Pokemon fan, it was paradise. I walked in and I thought, man, if I feel like this now, how would I have felt if I was 11 years old going into that store? Into like the 4 that I went to on my trip there.
So the first time, and again, I'm trying to hold off on this tragedy as long as possible. But the first time I ever went to a Pokemon Center, it was back when the Osaka location was it wasn't in a mall. It was a separate location. And I was there as a chaperone for a school trip. And I remember there was a student and we were sharing like an umbrella because it was kind of raining. And we were walking towards it. And eventually, like I saw the Pokemon Center over the horizon, and I think I just dropped the umbrella between the two of us, and I just walked forward at a higher rate of speed. Like it drew me in like a moth to a flame, or like a Volcarona to a flame, or Mothim or Venomoth or any of the other couple of moth Pokemon. Frostmoth, I think, is the main one I'm missing. You know, as Kevin was saying, like it's a great experience. Like as we'll talk about with this tragedy, I can understand why the victim, like people would think, oh, it's just a retail job. I can understand why the victim, why it was so exciting for her, and a little bit different than the Pokemon Center, but people may have seen the short form videos recently of fans bringing Pokemon stuffed toys, plushies to the Nurse Joy Center, and the actor puts them, you know, on the tray, and they play this jingle, and you know, give them back to the fans. Oh, it's very cute.
It's like asking for a blessing.
Yeah, pretty, like it's very similar. So like Pokemon centers don't have that level of interactivity, but they're still bright. There's still great music. The staff, I'd say at least 30% of them speak conversational English, and several other languages. I've heard some speaking French. I forget what, I think Korean I've heard in the stores, but maybe just those three. But, they are so fan driven, like they want to help people out. The Pokemon Company makes sure that like they try to, it's impressive, with 1,000 Pokemon, they try to keep a product of most of them at least in stock at all times. Yeah. Which is like really impressive.
Just even couldn't find Oddish though.
Yeah.
But to four of them, I couldn't find Oddish.
The Sitting Cuties or Pokemon Fit line has been a real help for that challenge, because they're relatively inexpensive plushies. You can get, and you know, they look really cool to have. They're relatively small in size. But anyways, so yeah, like before we, I guess, talk about the incident in general, I just wanted to say that like people might hear like, oh, a retail job, like why would someone, you know, really have their dream to like work at a Wendy's or work at like a Sport Check or work at a Canadian Tire? It's a pretty like great place. Like you get a lot of international guests. There's joy everywhere. Like aside from this tragedy, there's very rarely a negative experience. Like I remember going to a Gachapon machine, and I feel really bad in retrospect, but like a woman asked if I wanted to trade Pokemon pins with her, and I said no. Like again, looking back, I wish I did just for that experience. But you know, you have people, I mean, out there trading and like battling on their devices. I'm sure now there are Pokestops for Pokemon Go.
Yes, there is.
So it's
still a thing.
It's a beautiful place. So it's an extra sad thing that this the tragedy has marred a lot of people's experience with this place.
The staff have always been great. Like, you know, sometimes they'd help me find stuff. They helped me check for Oddish, and it seemed like they really were out. Like, there were none in metropolitan Tokyo, so I could not buy my favorite child, but that's not Charmander. But it's, like, yeah, they really did take the effort to try and look for me, right? And I really do believe, like, even if they aren't fans, like, if they faked it really well. Like, they were always very enthusiastic, even to adults. You think they would, you know, do that more for the children, but yeah, adults as well.
That's sort of a, you know, maybe that's sort of the Japanese hospitality thing too.
I could believe that being the case, yeah.
A bit of that, but as you said, yeah, I think some of them are fans and they do want to help bring joy to people and stuff like that. And my parents actually saw that when somehow they went to the Nintendo store to get us some stuff, and they were very, very helpful with them and said, oh, this is what this person wants and stuff like that. And the guy was just following them around, just helping them, getting them what they wanted and stuff like that as gifts and stuff like that, even though their knowledge of Nintendo is very different from our knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're definitely helpful. if you give them key things, even people who are just trying to get something for, you know what I mean, family members and stuff like that, and say, hey, we can help you and stuff like that and bring joy to people.
I just got to, like, I was trying not to buy any plushies for myself. I'm normally not a plushie person, but I just couldn't resist. Like, I looked for my Oddish. I think I did buy a Pidgeotto in the end. I did buy a Charizard. I bought a Charmander. And I bought a Sprigatito plush for my older niece as well, because she likes Sprigatito.
There you go. Well, don't feel bad about the plushies. They do add up, but try not to have too many regrets on them.
I'll get Oddish one day.
And you have yet to find the one you really want. Okay. Her name. Harukawa Moe. That's her name. 21 years old, stabbed multiple times. I will not say her estranged boyfriend's name. We're not. It's one of those things, right? They had long broken up, but he was stalking her, and it was continuous. Want to get back together. She even lived somewhere else, but she insisted on staying there, continuing to work at the Pokemon Center. It was her joy. It was his opening. But also, it's worth noting, by all accounts, he didn't like her working there. Tried to get her to leave the place. And sadly, that's where he was able to find her. And that was the incident. And that's the upshot of the incident.
Refresh my memory. Was it in the store or outside the store?
I think it was inside.
Inside
the store.
Inside the store. That's why they had videos of the staff trying to get people, and that's why it's extra sad, because
there were children
that
around,
location.
yes.
There's children, there's parents, there's grandparents, there's people from outside of Japan that were coming. You know what I mean? To have that joy and then to have that happen is probably a shock to the system.
Yeah. So there's I'm just looking at seeing as many of these details as I could here, just trying to get the skim of all of this. Harukawa, by all accounts, did everything she could. Went to the authorities, got the court orders. And I know, and you sent some shorts just to hammer the point in, Mo. By all accounts, the system failed. That's the part that really disheartens me.
The question going forward is, will the system change? Will they make the necessary changes?
That's the problem, right? I mean, like that's the issue that I'm wondering with. And you pair this up with all the other things we've heard about in the last little while, or all even fictional stories, but
there's been real examples. Do you remember what happened last year as well?
Fuji, or the Fuji TV thing. We're gonna touch on Shogakukan in the next little bit. As I said, this is a true crime. Yeah. We're talking crime in the 100th episode, but maybe we have to talk a little bit about some of the things going on there.
And I think some people I know from the Japan side were talking about it's like very safe country and stuff like that. It's saddening when you have something like this happen, but crime, it feels like in Japan, they said it goes from 0 to 100, unlike what we're used to in other places and stuff like that. Like, it's like they just hold it in, snap. And then some of it, they said, is there really needs to be a discussion like all of us outside Japan and other countries have had about mental health and stuff like that. And it's going to have to come from them, right? And it's going to be a tough discussion, just like we've all had tough discussions and stuff like that to help people lead healthier lives. You know what I mean? And
yeah, Cyber Bunny. I mean, you sent us the shorts from Cyber Bunny, Mo, and she kind of mentioned some of the help that the perpetrator could have gotten couldn't be forced on him. He would have to take it willingly, and by all accounts, he didn't even consider it. That's the part, right? You can't, like,
there is still a huge problem in Japan with misogyny, right? Like
That's one of those
That's been a continual, as we've talked about many.
It is unfortunately like, misogyny and sexism is sort of built into a lot of their cultural practices. Like, nickname for women above 26 is still leftover cake.
Yeah, Christmas cakes, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like the fact that he didn't like that she was working there and felt that he had control, like it speaks to it. Like the fact that the mother was like, oh, I didn't know anything was wrong, speaks to the problem. Like if you are an adult male in Japan, you like, clearly there are people in prison there, but you get so many stupid second chances. Like, $1,700 fine for hundreds of child pornography cases. Like, and then the author's manga gets to continue versus tax evasion from Log Horizon. No, we have to cancel Log Horizon. Sorry. I don't think it's completely canceled, but more or less, right? Like,
or you have a bit of marijuana in your pocket and then it's the end of their life.
Literally, just the smallest amount of drugs and you're done forever.
Yeah, like it's, or if you're an idol and you have a boyfriend, or you're caught drinking alcohol or smoking or something,
shave your head and
then
repentance.
It's this like horrible, like you're lucky if your career has like you get to be a C-list guest on a variety show kind of thing. Like, obviously I think this is tragic, and, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about even bringing it up on the podcast, but, despite that, I think it's a great opportunity just to remind everyone, as much as, all five of us love Japan, and however much I still, do love Japan, it has some serious problems, like socially.
When you put it in those terms, I come back to Neil. I will come back to a conversation Neil had on this podcast with us years ago, during one of the Anime North episodes, actually. He brought up the idea, like, this is where I start to, when I look back on it, this is where I start to get the idea, okay, maybe it's okay to have these not so comfortable conversations. When we had the K conversation a couple years ago, Neil brought up the idea of the xenophobia and racism that exists in Japan.
I remember this episode, actually.
Yeah, and I was uncomfortable talking about it at the time, but now that I look back on it, yeah, it's there. And bringing up these issues once in a while, yeah, we're all curious about Japan. Now, you guys have been there. I really haven't, I'll be honest. And there's a lot to like about the place.
And even legally, right? There are, or like if you think about their justice system and the way they deal with criminals, like there are things to be envied, right? Like the fact that police don't need to carry firearms all the time, but they still have really effective methods of dealing with perpetrators. And it's not like they never use firearms. Like I think it's similar to the old English system. I think more people in England have weapons all the time now, but for the longest time they kept them in their trunks. Japan has like little stations throughout metropolitan areas, and that's where they keep firearms. So it's, it's more, there are things to be envied, but like culturally and their system of like, I think you described it earlier in the day, I think pre-recording, that like the 0 to 100 type of thing. Oh, James, where, like for this sort of case with the stalking, he was basically given like a
Slap on the wrist, not even a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, like
warning.
Yeah, essentially a warning. And then after that, if he was caught again, it would have been a year in jail or a year in prison.
I think we were just short of that. But the fines had gotten to what, 800,000 yen by that point. So I got like 8,000. Like if we're going on par with the Canadian dollar, roughly 8,000.
Yeah. So a bigger amount than the
than the child porn charges. Yeah. So there's some priorities. There's a few messed up priorities, or at least
I don't know where the priorities should land there. Like, I think 8,000 is probably reasonable. I just think the child porn situation should have been jail forever.
well, certainly more than.
Yeah, more than, the fact that you can buy a computer for less, kind of, or for more. Like, it's like about the cost of a PS5 and a couple games, right?
Well, that's open to some debate now.
I'm just saying, like, the amount that was fined, but for again, over 100 cases of child porn is not going to bankrupt someone. Or like 8,000 even, like, that's, I think, more of an appropriate charge of like, look, this is going to, if you're paying rent, you're going to be in trouble for a few years. You need to think about what you've done and the punishment that we're enacting. Especially a rich author can, deal with, under $2,000 worth of punishment.
And apparently a lot of social capital at that point. Because that was the difference between this guy and some of the other ones that
this wasn't a famous person.
The others weren't famous. This guy made probably arguably a 90s cornerstone for Shonen Jump. Right? You had me also thinking, and I said in fiction because one of my recent reads was a manga on Manga Up called "Is It My Fault That I Got Bullied?" Which is about, then that's the English title. I don't know the Japanese title, but it's about a vigilante teacher who goes after bullies, but is faced with the biggest dilemma of them all. What if you become the teacher of the daughter of the person who bullied you? And on top of that daughter is also being bullied.
Oh, cool.
Which I thought this was a great story. 30 chapters, read it in a day.
That sounds like
It's a great story. It's a great story. Highly recommended. If you get, like, put down $7 for a month to read it, and a bunch of other stuff on Manga Up.
And I think that also speaks to the fact that, like, we're all coming to this as, like, outsiders. I am positive people in Japan are having similar conversations.
I would love
more
to,
serious conversations and more informed conversations.
And I'm hoping that's the case.
Everything we know is essentially hearsay comparatively.
And we compare it with ourselves, our own cultures and other places. This is not to say this, like, certain aspects of this were unique either. Right. By the way, is it my fault that I got bullied? You understand why the teacher becomes a bit of a vigilante, because he feels that the people in charge, the school authorities, failed him.
And, I think I've mentioned that, like, even a shonen series like Assassination Classroom, it deals with, the Japanese education system and how, ideally the class sizes would be smaller. Like, a thing that educators deal with here in Ontario as well. But, like, in Japan, like, the class sizes are so much bigger. And, here's a wacky show about a tentacle monster teacher man who, wants his kids to try to kill him. Like, it's a, fascinating show. But they have commentary about, like, how, he's such a great teacher because he can just go at super speed and give one-on-one help to all his students. So, like, it's a pretty, like, direct, even if it's by a fantasy science fiction manga, discussion about, education of middle schoolers in Japan, which is great.
I haven't seen that one, but how does it compare to GTO?
I was going to say, GTO is the other one you can think of on that too, right? For high school.
I feel that my, I haven't seen that much of GTO, and I also feel that things are a little bit more time displaced there.
And that's the problem. It's been so long that obviously it's changed.
Japan
much.
changes slowly, but I don't think it changes that slowly. So yeah.
I don't think you can get Onizuka today. I'm just not certain.
People were still making references about that show when I was there in 2013, 14, though.
It's still a thing.
I remember students making a poster of like great teacher and then like whatever their actual teacher's name was.
Okay.
And
It's also worth noting
where the O would be. That's cool.
Like and remember the main actor, Sharmarke, and I forgot the woman who played FUBUKI, and they're married in real life. This was where they met, actually. And they're still very, very active in the entertainment world there.
I think with the Pokemon Center incident, I do feel that one of the only reasons why it's being talked about is because of the Pokemon Center of it all. As rare as these events are in Japan, I don't think this would have been a thing if it happened at like Don Quixote or like
it wouldn't have been such
something.
an international headline. It would have been domestic.
To be fair, it was during spring break, so there was a lot of tourists around in the center when it happened. So I feel like that might have been why. Plus, all the news media's picked up on it, and it's Pokemon, which is
well, exactly.
The biggest
That's why.
franchise.
And obviously it was open and stuff like that too. Yeah. And you're not thinking when you're going there, when your joy, that's like.
So that's the story, and there's still further fallout from that, from like the actual crime, the actual legal perspectives, and still trying to piece together what's happened.
And you've mentioned that they've canceled events for the rest of the month.
That's the latest development in the story. So this came down the pipe.
I thought they said they were closing indefinitely and they were going to let the police and the authorities do the investigation, and that leads me to believe how exactly do you reopen after an event like this?
Well,
like it's tough.
Okay, let's update. Let's try to update this. First of all, is this location still closed? By all accounts, it still might be, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah, I would say so.
While the investigation, but it's had a ripple effect. So yes, Pokemon Center, according to Sora News 24, this came out within the last couple hours. Pokemon centers across Japan have canceled April events after the Tokyo stabbing.
But the stores remain open.
Stores remain open. So let me just quickly do a quick skim, because it's the Ikebukuro location, I think, remain open. Yes. The Sweets Dessert Cafe within the same shopping area immediately closed down. So those two, the Sweets Cafe nearby and the Pokemon Center are within Ikebukuro, remain closed and are closed indefinitely. But the other centers remain open for business. And they're rethinking a few of their operations. So all events, so any no meet and greets, no Pokemon game classrooms, those type of things, those have been canceled through the duration of April. Saying the only exception, two tournaments. So competitions will be ongoing. However, if there is to be an audience, they'll be kept well away from the action, so to speak, from the where the games are going on.
That's just wild to think that this grievance that this boyfriend had could turn all the way to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like someone loses a life, you take the joy out of someone's life, you take the joy out of other people's life.
I feel like it's like an abundance of caution thing, though. Like,
but I understand the caution. It just feels overly cautious and stuff like that, because you know how they say, for the police, they say, well, an incident did occur and stuff like that, but it happened between two known parties. You know what I mean? It's not something, you know what I mean?
I understand the dilemma. I think this is, like, for me, it's just...
I understand you want to do it for a few weeks and stuff like that. So hopefully they're able to bring the joy back and bring more things back in May. You know, I think that's more my thing. I think
April is a good time.
And it's the thing of, you do want to respect someone that worked for you and did this out of joy and stuff like that, and remember their memory in a positive way and stuff like that. But as you say, also be protective and stuff like that and show respect. You know what I mean?
I just hope that this doesn't go on for too long, because the longer it goes on for, the more people that suffer. It's like you're letting him win all over again.
But that's the thing. I don't think
Oh, I don't think
I don't
he had a
think
grudge
he-
with
yeah, I don't
the with the
think he-
Pokemon Center. It's
Yeah.
just it's
No, I mean,
I think it's
no.
just a coincidence there. And then as far as, him taking away, joy, I don't think it will have like a huge impact because most of the, magic of those stores is like the shopping experience in
And
general.
you said like all the things that are
Yeah,
in there,
the
and it's that's
like-
insane. Yeah,
I think this won't have like a huge impact. I think it's great of the Pokemon Center. I think it's a respectful move. Pokemon Center has always acted out of an abundance of caution. The Porygon episode of the original animated series, they took a pretty lengthy break from airing episodes after the seizure incidents. There was an episode with Wishcash, which is a catfish Pokemon, which, if you know Japanese mythology, is connected to earthquakes. And that episode is the only lost media episode of Pokemon completely, which they just didn't air it due to the 3/11 earthquake.
15 years.
So
15 years on.
there's, I think like they've never, I couldn't see them completely canceling everything. I think they're doing what they need to.
Yeah. So that's the updates. As I said, every society has maybe versions of this. And here's the particulars of what's happened in Japan. So, yeah. Once again, Harukawa Moe, 21 years old. And she died in a place maybe she really wanted to, didn't want to die, obviously. But at least she was in a place she was really happy. That's as much as you can really say. Well, from one crime to another, right? Do we want to... Okay, how much... the Shogakukan incidences... That's a much older story, because that was pretty much at the beginning of the month. I actually acknowledged it in the last stream. It's happened long enough that I think some of those details are blurry for us now.
Can you in 2 or 3 sentences summarize what this is?
I could say cover up.
Yeah, you've been mentioning it for hours, and I still don't really remember.
Who wants
what
to
it
try and
is.
do I'd have trouble doing a Coles Notes version. How should we go through the Coles Notes version of this?
I think some of it was it started with this one author and stuff like that had a pen name and stuff like that, and so it was the series on Manga One was Jojin Kamen, and they said that it was Ichiro Hajime, I guess is his real name, and then his pen name was Kazuki Kurita or something? Or was it the opposite? It's the opposite? Okay, so Hajime was the pen name. But anyway, for him, supposedly they made a public notice after people had found out that I guess he had a criminal history and stuff like that. And there was a transparency about that, in that the Manga One editorial team knew that this guy, this artist, had a criminal history before letting him do the art for this manga. So it was similar to Act Age, where they had a person doing the art and a person doing the writing. And actually, I screwed that up because the fella that was doing for Jojin Kamen, I believe he might have just been the author, so writing part and stuff like that. And so they had said that they acknowledged the reality for this fellow that he had some sexual crimes and stuff like that, and that he had served his sentence and stuff like that, and also undergone counseling, and that the department viewed his hiring as an act as reintegration after he had completed his punishment and stuff like that. So take that what you will, but it started out, I think, Mike, on Twitter and stuff like that. That's where a lot of people were talking about it online in Japan and stuff like that. It worked its way to across the world. And Kahu Shibuya was one of the vocal people.
Because she was the one who probably made it most known in English initially.
And then, obviously, it took a life on its own because they then had to make the notice, like Manga One and Shogakukan, made a statement on March 2nd, stuff like that, about this author and stuff like that. And that many of the authors, I think, basically, like there were other Shogakukan authors that not just serializing in other magazines, right? They also have some of their works in Manga One.
So how many dozens of dollars did this terrible author have to pay to pay for his crimes?
I don't even think it's about the fact that he had to pay for the crimes or that he committed the crimes and then, you know, did whatever time or punishment there was for the crimes. It's the fact that he could change his name, re-release stuff as under a different name, assuming that we would like not know, like would be accepting of it.
People didn't,
and that the editorial department was the one that kept basically his identity confidential. So even the person that was drawing the manga, just like Act Age, had no idea who, you know what I mean, who this person really was.
Has the editorial department apologized yet?
Yeah, they've had a few statements and stuff like that, but it's the same type of statements you heard just there, where it's like, well, he's a rehabilitated human being. He did the counseling. He went and did his time for his punishment and stuff like that, whether it was jail or whatever. And it's just...
I feel like we've had this conversation many, many times, the artist versus the work. And I feel like we maybe have come to a conclusion on this now, right?
And it's interesting. So after this, obviously, some of the other mangaka basically said, you know what? We don't want our manga on the Manga One app or whatever.
Cool.
So and some of those were high-profile mangaka and stuff like that. And the other thing they set up was a third-party committee, obviously, to go over, obviously, how this could happen. And then guess what they found when they were reviewing some of the authors with pen names? They found out the Act Age author that him and stuff like that.
He's employed.
Supposedly was under punishment, all that stuff. Guess what? He had went, and I forget the Japanese name. Remember, they're online, a lot of the light novels and stuff like that. Some of them get found online, right? In sites like Let's Be Novels is the English term and stuff like that. Yeah. Something like that. So he, I guess, after he had done his punishment for the Act Age author and stuff like that, and just let me get that fellow was Tatsuya Matsuki, right? That was, I believe, the one that was for...
that's his name, yeah.
So for him, supposedly he had, they found out he was on Manga One and stuff like that. They had said, okay, you've done your time in that. And I'm not sure if it was someone he had known at Shogakukan on editorial, whatever, said, okay, you can come and work for us again. You've been doing this novel, you know what I mean, this series online.
He had to have known somebody.
And that basically... they were going to have him do the writing, right? And then find someone else to do the art and stuff like that. And they basically brought him on board, and only a few people in editorial knew that. And so I think the third party committee found that. So it blew up again and stuff like that. And that's the beginning of March. So it's just snowballed, just like the Fuji TV scandal and stuff like that. And hopefully it results in a better, you know what I mean? I can't find the words. It's unbelievable, to put it lightly, but to find better procedures to say that we understand that you guys believe that if someone has been punished for a crime or whatever, and they went through counseling, they did and served their time in punishment, that is one thing. But to allow them back into the same industry that they had been in, you know what I mean? And they had this, it's like, I don't want to say authority, but this power and stuff like that they could then bring on to other people. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. You tell them, it's like, I'll help you find another job, but you can't come work in this industry ever again. You know what I mean? In the manga industry or the publishing. So
I know that the Japan and comics world is different than that in, you know, the West, as we'll call it. Mm-hmm. But I feel that the only option for this person should have just been like, good luck self-publishing. Like, if you know, if he was rehabilitated, if all he loves is drawing comics, then good luck doing it yourself. Or, you know, because like, I don't know if I was if I was an editorial body of a publisher, like I wouldn't want that kind of person, working for me. Like I don't like it's interesting. Like I don't necessarily want to give him no chance, but he should do it himself. Like why should he have the help of someone?
Okay, I just want to play a little devil's advocate on this. Not too big, just a little bit. Oh boy. This is the assumption that this person is guilty. Went through the entire court case, was found hardcore, 100% guilty. Should he then be put on some kind of ban list through every publication, every major publication? Should be like, make sure he's exiled, only allowed to self-publish, even not allowed to self-publish? Like, I feel like...
Well, self-publishing, I think, should be allowed regardless.
Okay. Yeah, that's what a lot of them do that have been caught for less outside Japan.
But a ban through every major publication.
Why the pseudonym, though?
Okay.
Right? Like, that is very clearly, I want to hide that I was a sex offender. Please don't worry about that and let me make comics again.
And I think they made a statement about that regarding his pseudonym, and they said that
unless
they didn't want it to offend, I guess, his victims, or it was such a very disturbing statement.
If you want to support this guy, you should take that risk.
Yeah, it's
right. Like if I don't like the cover up is bad here as well. Like worst part is the abuse, but there's other bad things too.
Yeah, he had to use a pseudonym because he didn't get as big as the other guy with all the porn.
Yeah, like the Act Age one, they said in 2024 when they had he had basically obviously been self-publishing and stuff like that through Seosetsu or whatever is, I believe, the website. But that's the lesbian novels one. But they had said basically in September 2024, the editor and Matsuki, this is the Act Age author, met in person with the approval of the editor-in-chief, Yuki Wada. The editorial department states that Matsuki expressed remorse and change throughout his suspended sentence because remember, he didn't get much of a punishment. And then the editor-in-chief said, okay, let's bring him on board and stuff like that. And then basically this web novel, The Counselor Through the Years and Stars, begins serialization Shogakukan's Manga One platform in August 6, 2025, and that the editorial staff decided he would continue under the new pen name Itsuki Yatsunami. Only limited editorial staff were said to be aware of his identity, and it was probably a similar situation for the Jojin Common author as well, which is just crazy.
There's something like this might speak more a little bit like to the issues with that staff, with the editorial staff. These two obviously stick out right now, but in talking with other friends on this, and when I told some of them that we would talk about this story, one of them begged me to bring up the name Ashihara Hinako, the late author of
Sand Chronicles?
Sexy Tanaka-san.
And Sand Chronicles.
Yeah. You know the story.
I love Sand Chronicles.
And you know the story. You know that story, right? Mm-hmm. She unfortunately took her own life in early 2024 over voicing her displeasure over a live action adaptation for Sexy Tanaka-san. Mm-hmm. And she was raked through the coals by a lot of the staff, by a lot of that staff, the people working on the live action investigation, and by all accounts, none of her editors stood up for her. And subsequent investigations have also turned up that really there was no real lines of communication.
What were her criticisms?
Let me I have to sort of look up where she was on this.
Like, obviously, she shouldn't have been bullied into suicide, but, I'm curious, like, was she, disparagingly talking about the actor and saying the
I
actor
think it was
it was
just the way they were going about the plot.
I think
yeah,
it's just
that's
the
nonsense.
it's just the production.
It's just the production in general.
And this leads back to the whole how Japan can be very misogynistic because the editors are probably men, so they're not going to stick. Well, I shouldn't say that. They likely were not going to stick up for it as a result. That is an assumption, though, but it's likely that they were all men. If it was a man who voiced these complaints, chances are they probably would have made those changes, assuming that the author was of higher status or is more recognizable. Like, I would like to think, like, let's say with One Piece, right? Of course, they're gonna have to kowtow to Oda and do what he wants because he's the creator.
Plus, right now he is still very much the man in the industry. He's still very much the
That
man.
is an extreme end, but generally speaking, the bigger you are, the more sway you're gonna have, unfortunately.
Or fortunately or unfortunately, right? But Ashihara had little in that production, and apparently the live action producers, like according to one investigation, had no wind of her wishes. So
they say.
So the investigation said, but that doesn't give approval for any bullying, and apparently it was good. It was apparently some of the people involved in the production who gave that grief. So that's and that's just, I think that's just something systemic within Shogakukan's editorial staff for not conveying properly, for not keeping open lines. So this just like these last two cases just adds to some other things that have been going on there. So this is I don't know who's next.
And we've talked about before, right, with Fuji, with other entertainment
do not
things.
expect an epic 8-hour press conference like Fuji had at the climax of what happened there. Right? That's something very wide appeal.
But you would think that after all of these things that happen again and again, that somehow slowly but surely there will be some change. Because I think the other thing they talked on the Shogakukan one was about releasing ideas. All that was like, the human rights of the person and stuff like that. And then worrying about re-offending people. And it's like, guys, it's like it should be simple, right? It should be a simple thing of common decency, right?
Well, but the sad thing is Japan is changing. It's just changing at such a slow rate that it's not going to be changing fast enough to help people.
Mm-hmm. And we have seen, like, people are speaking out, as we said, on Twitter and stuff like that. So there are people in Japan talking about these. And as we said, they are making the progress. It's just that worry of, is it too slow, right? Or is
It's that worry about rocking the boat.
And look at how
Japanese culture in many ways.
Look at how long Japanese people live in general too. So all the old farts in government, they're gonna take longer to die than most other old people. So even when you factor in all the smoking they do, it'll supposedly take more time for those younger, more progressive people to now enter those seats of power to hopefully make more meaningful change.
Although that's an assumption too about the mentality of youth there, especially since the ruling party did win a landslide last election.
They always do.
But this one was quite different in this case.
And there has been a global trend of right-wing views with young people.
Because Takeuchi, I think that's the prime minister's name.
You mean the attack train?
Where are all the bots for left-wing propaganda, man? Like, why are all the bots right-wing? Where are all the rich... Actually, I'm not even gonna finish that sentence.
Yeah, that's
the furries are too busy doing actual philanthropy and helping people.
Right.
They don't have time for politics. They're changing the world for the better in their secret ways.
but
Oh yeah, Frontal Equinox was like a week or two ago. Now that I think about it,
It's
What is that?
that's the big furry convention in Toronto.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
so those are the
I have a couple friends in the community.
yeah, it's sort of an ongoing thing. One of the like there, as I said, there you talked about privacy concerns. That in the manga I just said I read. That's sort of a line that kind of comes up in one key scene. So, as I said, worth the read. Worth the read if you have a subscription or go through other means. Who am I to judge? 20 years later.
Links will be in the show notes.
Yes, at least an official one. Yeah, this is that's just a messy situation.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Hopefully,
It shouldn't have happened.
hopefully it leads to change. Hopefully, people see this the way it is and change.
Very slow.
What is it? What's it saying? Slow change is still change.
Slow change is still change, I guess. But that's the story for now. Can we give some props to names like Rumiko Takahashi, to Yusuke Murata, to one.
Push the button.
Why? What did they do?
Because those are the creators.
Those are the creators that
had their titles pulled.
That
from
we had talked
manga.
about that went on Twitter,
right.
because usually you never hear about anything from other creators on Twitter, but they were very vocal saying this isn't right, and please take our
Good for
creations and our characters off this section of your site and stuff
So-
like that, or this section of Shogakukan we don't approve.
Maybe that's your first step to change.
And that's like a very big difference compared to other things we've seen, especially with Jump,
And
Shonen
the
Jump
giant,
and stuff like
Kenshin celebration wall. I wish more, I don't think any, significant, it might have been a contract thing, but, I don't think any of the shonen authors decided to say no to that. So it's nice that in this smaller but no less serious incident, there are at least people who are taking a stand. That's really reassuring.
And it's also nice to see that them taking a stand is actually leading to some change in some ways.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
But I think hopefully, as we say for readers, is that we understand it's there is a reason why some of these creators in Japan do use pen names and stuff like that. And I hope it doesn't make the people that are using it legitimately, that they don't them, because some of them are using it because they just want to live their own private life in Japan and stuff like that, and they don't want to be,
Yeah,
pestered if they get too big or stuff like that.
If this monster was going was using the same pen name, that's fine. It's the trying to hide factor. I'm not against pen names, but they shouldn't be used to hide.
And that's the worst thing, is that you hope that we're trusting people to do the right thing, and we hope it comes out on the other side the right way. It'll probably take time, but as we said, for those who want to use pen names the right way and stuff like that, that we have that trust that you're using that and we know who you are and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
But also that trust goes out the window if you actually are convicted of a crime.
No, obviously.
Yeah,
But
so-
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like...
Until then, fine. All the pen names for everyone.
Anyway. Don't know what else to add.
Do we have a third story?
We do have a third story, and it's a little happier.
Oh, how happy.
What's the third story?
The Crunchyroll Anime Awards.
Oh, you mean the My Hero Wins Everything award?
Yeah, or
Okay,
the
this
Glad
list
Hat.
now.
I thought the
Okay,
list
so
was of
the list is
anime
pretty
that will get
extensive,
physical
right?
releases, Mike.
Well,
They're really
linked it
going
to
into
us
all
already,
the voice, the languages of origin.
yeah, languages as
we
well.
had mentioned that
Yeah.
last year. Remember, it wasn't just English and Japanese. We have English, Japanese,
Hindi,
French,
German.
German. So all the languages
yeah.
we have talked about.
Latin,
the good
Spanish,
things
and
from
Spanish.
Crunchyroll, where we said yes, it is really outside Japan. They are expanding into all these different parts of the globe that had never been touched
Portuguese
before,
and
and they
Brazilian
are
Portuguese.
celebrating them, right?
Which is great. I
think-
it's but I mostly follow Latin American people, and every so often they'll reblog like a singer or like a voice actor, and they have as much passion for their voice actors as North American fans. So it's a really good thing to hear.
And we have been talking in the good way for India and stuff like that, where they have been growing and stuff like that over the last, I want to say, 10 years and stuff like that. And you said, Mike, too, we've been seeing some series. It's interesting, not dubbed in any of the other languages, but being dubbed in Hindi and stuff like that.
I was about to make that joke again.
And so it's that thing of, I wonder where that's going to go. It's like, is that where some of the Indian fans are going? Because I know they pressed a lot just to get an anime film in their theaters, actual physical theaters. And I think it was Makoto. Was it Makoto Shinkai? No, maybe it wasn't. I think it was Makoto Shinkai. I think it was Makoto Shinkai.
It might have been Suzume.
I think it was Suzume, but I think it was a Makoto Shinkai one.
Yeah.
And they pressed to get it in, and now they're like, oh, we're finally doing it just like some of the other regions.
Mexico would have made a better Saint Seiya movie than the U.S.
What are you talking about? That was
fantastic. or Italy.
Yeah.
Because I've met some Italians that are big Saint Seiya fans.
Hey, that Knights of the Zodiac movie was pretty awesome. You guys talking about?
Well, we were talking about City Hunter last time, right, Mike? And remember, France did make their own City Hunter movie.
True.
So
yeah, I respect having the category for best voice artist performance for the different.
What caught my attention about the artist performances, that's gender neutral. It's a gender. Those are all gender neutral.
There's Castilian Spanish,
which I believe is mainland.
Yeah, that's Spain and stuff like that
versus Latin.
Cool.
Because there is a difference there. Just like French, as we know.
Yeah,
cool.
And maybe
Brazilian Portuguese.
Well, as I said, when you know when you know those languages, you can tell the difference between Castilian and Latin, right? It's like us. It's
even among the Latin American countries, the accent and the dialects can
much
be
like
different.
English.
Yeah,
and then Portuguese is another one. Portuguese in Brazil is different than in Portugal and stuff like that. There's some difference.
With the awards, the thing that stood out to me the most that I was really happy about, and I don't remember if they did this last year or since the inception at all, but I really like that they've separated music from the opening and ending sequences and having them be separate awards.
Yeah,
because I really think that honors the really amazing art that intro or outro sequence is.
Oh yeah.
To anime. I wish there was an entire awards just for opening and ending sequences.
There's so many, especially
and there's so many
now.
factors and the different genres have different styles of openings and endings. And I think it's a shame that we just have best opening, best ending, where, there are certain ways that they integrate the music, or they're trying, especially with endings, creative things.
I was thinking about the art. Yeah, you look at different things and you have the animation when you're watching the story. But if you watch openings and endings, sometimes they get creative and stuff like that. With some of the teams, the directors kind of go ham, enjoy, and then they create
going into the future. But if both Freerun and Beastars are shunned for the 2026 awards, I'm going to be so upset. Well, they're both 2026, but they're so early in 2026.
The first Beastars
will
matter. Yeah.
And
the first Beastars opening will always stick out. That stop motion.
It was fantastic.
And just on other styles, having watched Days with My Stepsister, that was a really different style of closing sequence, because they did a quick pure computer generated look at the characters, and it was so nicely done, I thought, and it went well with the music. So there's a lot of awards here to mention.
I think before that we should mention that it is the 30th anniversary of a very popular anime that's gonna have a performance happen at this year's awards.
What
if you guess?
Oh wow, not Eva. Well, because there's already been a gathering for that, right?
Yeah.
And that short is now you can find it, albeit wrong.
Exactly.
So is it just going to be constant Cruel Angel thesis over and over again during the awards?
I think so, right?
Well, I
love the song, but
you know what they need to do? It's we've had all the versions, including the staff, sing the thing. So now what they need to do is have the whole awards audience.
They need
and
to
presenters sing the whole
They
crew.
need to get that American gospel choir to fly in and do their version. Like that's my favorite one, probably. Yeah, no, it's delightful.
So let's go through some of these nominations. Is there one nomination or one award that has your attention just for competition or hilariousness in some of the way this is mentioned?
Curious about best score. Good to see Taka Iwazaki still up and at it. So I remember his music back when he did the first Read or Die.
Wow.
It's been around for a long time.
That's fair.
And then, I'm curious about who's going to win that, because I really did like the Chainsaw Man music, but I think the
that song was fantastic. I think that song's going to win.
But I think the Apothecary Diaries music is no slouch either, so we'll see. And Hiroyuki Sawano's in there too. Oh, he did Soul Leveling. Oh.
I guess the real question is, which character do you want to protect at all
Let's
costs?
go.
Because I know some people are still discussing and saying, well, they have all these different award categories, some great award categories, great things to celebrate, and people are like, do we really need this in there? And Anya Forger is still in there, so is she still going to continue to win?
Yeah, she will, because she's the most popular character out of that group of characters.
that you would
Bakuria
want
was
to
a fan.
protect.
Let's remember, this is a popularity contest.
The voting is open now until I think April.
So my understanding is, so they get some of it together through judges and stuff like that, and then part of the final decision is judges, but then for the fan part, they can vote every day between a certain set period, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So-
Because I wonder how that plays in, as we always talk and stuff like that.
Because things like best anime song is really not up to the populace to decide, I think. Like, if there was a separate fan component, like fan choice awards for this, fine. But if you were to try and decide what is the best objectively, then everyone's just going to pick their favorite shows. It's not going to... Most people won't actually vote with critical thinking in mind.
And I think, as they said, they finally changed it. And I think that's why they went to Anime North Weekend, like May 23rd last year, is so that they could do it. Because remember, the last core of the year, so the October to December, wasn't included in the past. And now they have the full year. So it's like January 2025 to December.
What does that have to do with Anime North, though?
No, what I'm saying is the
awards.
The awards are later, so they can actually, you know what I mean? Basically, timing wise, they can have some of those later shows from the year and stuff like that. And the other issue was, before, that fourth core used to be in the year after. So unless it was really popular, right? Mm-hmm. They might not have a chance because of recency bias. Yeah, even though that's still a thing, right? I'm not saying it'll go away.
It is wild how recency bias is like clouding the entire discussion of what is considered the best anime of all times in general.
Well, there's recency bias, and when it comes to the Crunchyroll Awards, there's also the factor that there is like a huge shonen bent. Like, looking at these,
always,
like, even like Spy Family is like the most shonen of arguably non-shonen shows. Like, it's
still a Shonen Jump title.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing in there, that's why it's surprising. Like, we had talked about that with the new wave of fans and stuff like that. I hope they are exploring other things other than shonen, because definitely it feels like Crunchyroll has said, this is where our bread and butter is, and even some of the others. And that's where you see some of the awards are. And that's why it's kind of nice to see Apothecary Diaries be celebrated and stuff like that. And that's why when I was watching, I'm like, oh, people are actually watching this. This is nice to know and stuff like that. And it's like, hopefully they explore some other genres.
Also, it helps that it's being like released for really widely, I guess, on Netflix and so forth, with Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny too. Did you see, I forgot, Kevin, Apothecary Diaries. So obviously I'm reading the novel. I've been collecting the novel. It's great too if you want to read that. It's on J-Novel, or Square Enix has been releasing the novel physically. Mm-hmm. And then there are two manga series. I remember the one Square Enix manga has been releasing in English and stuff like that. Viz said, "Oh, we're releasing an Apothecary Diaries manga
yeah.
coming out at the end of the year, and it's long too." But I'm like, wait, and it's like there are 2 manga series for Apothecary Diaries, and I'm like, how does that work?
They have a different creator doing it. That's how that works.
Telling the same story.
There's a story behind it. I remember hearing the story. It's just there is a story behind.
There probably is something. It's just
why we have
interesting.
I just assumed it was a spin-off, though.
No, it's the same.
It's
I
the
mean,
same,
it's
it
the same
looks like.
story. It's just how the rights went. Okay, so
We got the Canadian connection with Anne here. Well, that's nice.
yes,
Yeah.
and Shirley is up for a few.
I see that Dr. Stone
Drama.
was almost robbed completely. It only has the most protected all costs category, which
it's not
I'm
doing
upset
that. It's
about.
not
No, of
doing
course not.
Although,
like, arguably, Suika is a younger person than most of these. Like, Anya has superpowers. Anya's going to be fine. Suika actually, like, I'm not going to spoil things, but she goes through some stuff in between the last half of, or between the last halves of the last season.
Oh, I think I remember what. Because I'm behind. I didn't finish Doctor
It started
Stone.
again. I'm so happy.
And then Mao Mao is in there too for that one. Protected all
I think
costs.
I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
And why
anyway.
isn't Turbo Granny in the protected all costs? I mean, like, yeah, she's old, but she's a granny. Grannies need to be protected the same way as children.
She's not a popular character. Probably.
Considering what
Barbara
Turbo Granny does,
Goodson,
yo, she's
all the way.
Barbara Goodson.
How do you guys feel about the best film of the year?
Wait, let me scroll up.
Okay, so film of the year, 100
Scarlet
meters,
wasn't in
Chainsaw
theaters
Man,
long enough for me to see it.
Chainsaw Man,
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, Mononoke Chapter 2.
Wait, let me.
I'm trying to think, did
Rosa
Rosa
Scarlet.
Versailles ever make it to our shores? I feel like, yes, it was in
I don't
Japan, but
recall.
it never
You
made
said,
it.
I already made my feelings
About Scarlet.
about Scarlet more or
It's
less
probably
known.
gonna be Demon Slayer, even though I would.
Chainsaw Man.
It's probably
I-
between those two,
I would
Chainsaw Man and
I would lean Chainsaw Man,
and Demon
It's a
Slayer.
better movie.
even though I think maybe Rosai or like the Mononoke movie would be the more critical darling here, but it's probably gonna be.
For
Demon
reference,
Slayer.
I did finish Hashira training for Demon Slayer. So basically,
You
it
saw
sets
Michael
up.
Jackson again?
Oh, a few times. It's
How did
but
you
it sets
survive
up.
that season?
It sets up the movie.
Yeah,
because
because it's basically just a training. It is a training arc.
Yeah, and then and then
Right into the movie.
Well, how many
basically
episodes
goes
is
right
it?
into the movie. Eight episodes.
Oh, okay.
It goes right into the movie.
Yeah, like you can't even really call that a season. It's just basically
quarter.
it was just like in the manga, it was essentially just the aftermath of the previous arc, and you do all their
Swordsmith.
training, so it leads into what we didn't know at the time was the final arc. Because I felt like when they went into the Infinity Castle, like, oh, this is just another big battle. But then as it progresses, you're like, oh, like they're gonna try and end this. Okay, like that's why I have respect for Koyoharu Kotoge, because they realize that you know what,
It's time.
Yeah,
Right? It's time.
and that's why I actually do like how a lot of recent Shonen Jump series, they have been given more leeway to end and not go for 70 volumes
On
or
that
60
note,
volumes or 80
on that note,
volumes.
I love the way they explain best continuing series.
Best continue. Let me see this.
Best continuing series. Dan 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 season 2. Kaiju number 8 season 2.
Yep.
Final season My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Solo Leveling season 2. Spy Family season 3.
And then just One Piece.
And then One Piece. That's it.
Is that because it's still season 1 of One Piece?
It's going to be around
It
for a
continues
while.
forever.
no, it's like season like
I thought
27 or something.
Didn't they do the big switch? Finally, new season. I thought that was.
Well, yeah, they're finally not going to do it weekly anymore.
Yeah.
They will do separate TV series now for One Piece. They finally decided.
And then Studio Wit's doing their own little thing with one part of One Piece with Netflix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I think it was finally time. Like I think most of us know why they did it like this. It's just like ad revenue and just having something on every week.
Well, it's the cornerstone.
Well, yeah.
For
So
it's a
is there
cornerstone.
a set release schedule for One Piece now?
I think I don't think they've announced like the next season per se for this, but I think they'll just do it by arcs now. That's my guess.
So are they releasing them still in like 22 minutes, or are they going to be longer formats?
So my hope is that they won't keep it in the, so I assume it'll still be 20 something minutes, but my hope is that they don't do the whole full 5-minute opening in the first half of the episode, which, you know, is good. It's like, yeah, it's cool that they did that, but it's the fact that the first half of the episode is just recap of the previous episode is just drains me because...
Hey, man.
Because... And then the second half is new content because they're only adapting one chapter per episode now. That's why.
I mean, you gotta remember, man, animation's hard, man. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, it's because they need to keep it every week, and they probably thought at one point, oh, we can't do fillers anymore for One Piece. That's why they're doing this.
So this question, I guess, is I'm thinking mostly for Mo, like maybe Kevin. I'm not sure how much My Hero Academia you've seen.
I have gone past the time skip, but I've not read too far into it. That was when I just fell behind on everything Shonen Jump when it comes to reading.
So I guess mostly for Mo, do you think My Hero Academia is going to get any flowers because it's over?
I think that it's gonna win every award, every category, and it's gonna be the biggest upset ever.
Well, that's interesting because like I think that series has like fallen off as far as popularity. Like as far as like students, so like the target audience, they're only talking about Jujutsu Kaisen now. Like they do not mention
you're
My Hero Academia like comparatively almost at all.
No, you're right, but that's just the recency though. I mean, JJK's season 3 just ended, and My Hero season ended just before that. So I hear what you're saying on that, but I feel like because it's the final season and they put the word final in every category, I feel like if they just said season 8, people wouldn't be so jazzed to vote for it. But final, you gotta vote.
I hate to tell you that final means nothing. We saw that with Attack on Titan.
No, that's
final season, but it happened again this season with Golden Kamuy. It was Golden Kamuy, the final season. I'm like, oh, they're going to try and squeeze all of Hokkaido and all that in there. They're like, oh no, we got one more season in us. And I'm like, but you said final season in Golden Kamuy title.
No, that's just a lack of planning.
No, but this is like an actual final. It's fun.
But the next one, the next season, the next like 12 or 13 episodes will be the final.
With Hero Aka, I do want to say that, like, you know, having just seen recently the end of Beastars, it made me really appreciate, and the end of several other series too, but it made me really appreciate My Hero Academia taking time for its like post-conflict event. Like they had almost 4 or 5 episodes after the main villain was defeated, which I really appreciated the closure. Like they went through pretty much every main character, said how their own like personal stuff wrapped up, like especially for a shonen series which are based in like martial arts combat action. The last 3 or 4 episodes didn't have almost any combat or action. It was just let's wrap up the character beats, which I was so impressed by.
I mean, to be fair, the action right before that was beyond awesome. I mean, I feel like obviously it's no spoilers, but the Bakuga situation, I mean, that was...
No, it was great.
Right? I mean, it was so good you needed a couple episodes afterwards just to relax, but you know?
It's a common thing, though.
So, I feel like My Hero Academia, it always skewed younger. Like, I'm talking like elementary school. I definitely don't see a lot of high school aged kids talking about it, like, especially like, you know, in my other place of employment. So that's why it's not surprising to hear it not being talked about amongst like older teenagers and like college aged people. But I still think that, you know, I heard that I also had heard the same thing. It wrapped up nicely. So I'm curious how it'll turn out as I eventually finally try and finish it. I did get spoiled on a couple of things, though, unfortunately. So, I heard about Yuga, so that was a spoiler, and then I saw a figure of Toru.
Oh.
So then I was like, oh, so they did finally reveal what she looks like. But I'm looking forward to see how that ends, though. But also Mo, I don't see Deku being on Anya for character that needs to be protected at all costs.
Shit, my bad. You're right. That category, I believe, is permanently hers forever.
Is it just a joke category at this point?
That's what people are saying. Like, why is this
her?
still here?
Like, that's definitely like a fan category. Like, yeah, sure, have that.
I was gonna say I thought professionals looked at all the categories respectfully.
Like Mo, you listen to Weekly Planet sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So they have awards every year. So this is an Australian podcast.
Teammates.
And they have an award for, I forget if it's best hair or worst hair, but Hawkeye from Avengers Endgame.
Endgame. That was awesome.
Won
What are
it
you talking about? That was great.
every year until they had to just stop. They had to ban him from being a person to vote for this award.
It's sort of like John Larroquette when he was during the Night Court's heyday back in the 80s and 90s, right? He kept winning Best Supporting Actor for the Emmys.
Yep.
And then at a point, he just pulled himself from the running for it. Just because he was on a streak. He was
I'm
hot.
sick of winning, guys. Let someone else.
Yeah, that's essentially what it was.
It's like Oprah winning every talk show Emmy, and then she's like, you know what, I've won enough.
Did she actually do that?
She did. She
did?
She took her name out of. But now she's retired. But it's like in her heyday.
I just remember the John Larroquette doing that. So he's so.
I think it's
so
always
it's happened
nice.
a few
It's
times.
always nice when people recognize that they've won too many times and just stop, participating.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Larroquette afterwards said, when he started doing other shows, and he said, "Would you be up for being nominated for those other shows for your new show?" He said, "Sure." Anyway, and obviously, the character he played mellowed out a lot in the redo that recently got canceled. Yeah. Anyway,
no, Best Chainsaw Man is not best director, not in Best Director.
Okay. Anything else that sticks out, or we'll just say?
I mean, song wise, pretty good. I think Iris probably has that beat or one.
I was gonna say I haven't checked all of them, but you know how they have comedy and all that other slice of life. Did they actually kind of try to make sure all the proper anime got to the proper
Best
categories, so to
comedy?
speak?
So I'll tell you what is there.
No, I was saying all the others because you know how sometimes you have the different categories and you're like, is that supposed to be in that one, or sometimes they might be in multiple categories? That's what I'm
does Ranma qualify for best romance?
I rather question if My Dress Up Darling should be in there or not.
Which one?
For best comedy.
Oh, best comedy?
Like, yeah, City, sure. Ranma, sure. Witch Watch, sure. Yeah, Witch Watch does lean more for comedy, so yes, that should be in there.
Ranma is nominated for best romance
And best comedy.
And yeah, Spy Family, sure. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I only would really question My Dress Up
You think
Darling.
Blue Box got a lock for any of these?
Blue Box?
Yeah.
Or Blue Lock?
Blue Box.
Blue Box? As much as I like the show, I'm not sold.
I think it sucks that Solo Lily's not going to win anything. I thought it was a pretty good season, but
No,
Because I could see Fragrant Flower winning best romance personally.
yeah.
Oh, I like that Honey Lemon Soda's on here too. That's nice.
Anyway, and best background art, Kowloon generic romance, great show. I'll stand by that one.
Slice of Life.
Yeah. Well,
Wait, where's Best Slice of Life? Let me see this.
Slice of Life, Anne Shirley, Blue Box, City the Animation, Fragrant Flower, Dress Up Darling, and
Fragrant might get that
These
one.
Spy Family?
Wait. What was the plot of Anne Shirley?
it's basically Anna Green Gables.
But see, because I have
to read it.
I have an issue when people call things slice of life.
But it definitely has the slice of life feel to it, so I think it fits in that category.
So let me go back, Mohamed.
And last thing,
Spy Family should not be in
That's
there.
the thing. That's why I
My
see
Dress
that's
Up
why
Darling
it's
should.
crossing my
Okay,
eyebrow.
Spy Family does have those occasional slice of life episodes, but it is not a slice of life anime. My Dress Up Darling is not a slice of life anime. I can't speak for Fragrant Flower. I think City is slice of life.
Yeah, no, it's comedy and slice of life. It's
And
kind of like
Blue Box is a romance and not a slice of life series.
I think One Piece got locked out of that category.
Like there aren't.
What
There
about
really
Solo
aren't.
Level? Like,
My Hero Academia,
There really
yeah.
aren't. Like people just keep on miscategorizing a slice of life. There is no when it's a slice of life series. There's no real. There generally is no real overarching plot, or the plot is not the dominant focus of the storyline. So I would say like when I think of slice of life titles, I think of All My Goddess. I think of Gintama, actually. Gintama is at its core a slice of life series. And I think of Yotsuba, among others.
What about something like Carol and Tuesday?
Oh wow!
I think there's a plot, and like even though it didn't go much of anywhere in the end, like there was an actual
So does that
goal.
remove it from slice of life then? Like, would that be a drama as far as your categorization?
I would lean in more towards like a drama.
Yeah, I was thinking more drama for that one. Like slice of life. Remember I showed you guys, was it Wash It All Away or whatever? The one I showed you that one, that's more of a slice of life where it's like her running the laundromat and stuff like that and interacting with the different people in the community and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Or if anyone remembers Aria, like Aria the animation, that is a like yes, there was technically a goal, but at its core, it was really
But
just
the
truly
idea
the
for some
day-to-day,
people, it would be like watching paint dry on a wall and stuff like that. You're just having that quiet, normal days of life.
What
you know
about free run?
And Freerin can have those moments and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
Because
I could see that
find the
more.
fact
You
that,
could,
I find the fact that free run has a plot to almost be incidental. Like it doesn't feel like it has an ongoing story for the purpose of a narrative. It just seems like, oh, she happened to stumble into some story every so often.
I actually don't know what the objective is in Freyre.
Yeah.
Like, I actually don't know because I haven't really read much of it yet.
She's old. Right now it is, yeah.
Isn't that always been the goal? Just to head on north and then just keep on going forever?
Sort of. I mean, that's the goal because of Fern existing.
Yeah.
Right?
Because-
but the protagonist is still Freerin.
So I can't speak because I really haven't read much of any of it, to be honest. I always think it's maybe kind of similar to... Would you say it's similar to Spice and Wolf in some aspects?
But Spice and Wolf, I can see slice of life in that too. You know what I mean? So
I
that's
think
where
Spice Life, there's a true objective in Spice and Wolf, though. Like, all their actions are to go to where she was from.
go from, yes.
Can a slice of life be like completely comedy? Like would Lucky Star be slice of life? Even though it's nonsense.
Or back in the day, Strawberry
You know what?
Marshmallow.
I made the case for Gintama,
Strawberry
so
Marshmallow would be
then
more
I'd say the same case could be made for Lucky Star.
So anyway, who knows? The discussions will continue.
We'll see what happens, I guess, and talk about it at Anime
But I think
North.
Yes.
people will have that debate with comedy titles, though.
The Crunchyroll Anime Awards happen on Saturday, May 23rd, is it? And that's the Saturday of Anime North. So maybe we'll we are for sure. We almost, if we have time, we'll revisit this story.
Will it be
during the
live
tapings.
streaming when you're doing the Anime Hell?
I don't know how we're gonna handle the
I forget how
episodes
the
this year.
timing will work out. Like I'm curious if it will be live.
Well,
it'll be
I mean, it's a
happening at
live
the
taping,
same
but it's always
time.
at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm going to bring up Dave Merrill in a couple minutes, actually, on that topic. But yeah, that'll happen the Saturday of Anime North, probably Japan time. So I would presume
the
that would be
Friday of Anime North.
or it could be early morning, or it could be the morning on the Saturday, because I don't know exactly what time they're like. Do we have a exact time for the awards in Japan?
It's late, right? Wouldn't it be like 7-ish? Japanese time?
So, but that would put it in the morning here.
So what is... Okay, I'm trying to look at best animation.
Anyway,
Takopi's Original Sin, okay. Soul Leveling Season 2, One Piece, My Hero Academia, Gachakukan, and...
we'll talk about that in the weeks to come. Okay,
Let me see. Wait, who's actually best anime of the year?
best anime. Oh, okay. Let's go. Well, we can look at the anime of the year: Apothecary Diaries, Dan Dan Dan.
Gachakukan,
Gachakukan.
My Hero Academia, The Summer Hikaru. Okay, I respect that being in there. And
Yeah,
Takopi's Original Sin is
I haven't had a chance. People have been saying check
Okay.
out Summer Hikaru Died. People have been saying check that out.
It does get a lot of
Attention.
it does get a lot of attention. Yeah.
Anyway, so as I said, May 23rd, we'll talk about the winners at that point. But we're almost 2 hours into the 20th anniversary episode, episode 100.
It's what we do best.
Yeah, long. At least no Tylenols yet. But I think we're almost done. Okay, so as we end the episode, Do we talk about what we've had around the table and what hasn't spilled yet, or do we talk about do we talk about stuff we're watching at the moment?
Has anyone talked about how good One Piece live action is yet?
Oh my god, yes, please, let's talk about that.
Okay, so those are your
Yeah,
I know those are your watches.
in the text messages about the One Piece
You guys
live
are
action.
raving about season 2.
So season 2 got better. It sounds like.
It was still good. Like it's, I think that it is the best. Like it might be the best animation to live action conversion that there ever been. That ever has been made. Like, not even just like Japanese anime. It's so fun. It's so well made. The CG isn't awful. Like could be better, but like for the budget, it's fantastic.
I like how they handled Tony. That was pretty cool.
That's what I'm mostly referring to. They like clearly there is clearly there is like somewhat of a limited budget. Like Luffy doesn't stretch out every episode.
Also, you kind of notice in like the wider animation shots when they're leaving islands. I feel like they're cutting where they can.
But the sets are immaculate.
The ship? Oof.
Yeah, like there's so much, and the actual like the show is just well done. The writing is good, the directing is good, the pacing is good. They make a joke about the pacing in the first episode, which is amazing. Like it's self-aware just slightly. Like I think that if I had one criticism, like the second season maybe is a little bit too like referential to contemporary jokes, like slightly, and that's like they had 2 or 3, which I'm like, oh, it took me out for like a fraction of a second of what is otherwise an incredibly impressive show.
It's amazing sometimes what happens when the creator is consulted. Right, NTV? Right, Shogakukan?
I'm
Okay, you're
hoping that, well, you know, another Watanabe show is gonna try and get adapted.
Oh, which one?
Samurai Champloo.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, that's not happening.
We'll see.
Well,
but it's the same. I believe it's the same production is the same production
Yeah.
company behind One Piece. So we will see.
Okay.
I'm not confident because I feel like a lot has to go right, and they're gonna actually have. And then, so is Watanabe actually gonna be consulted this time? We'll see.
Remember, they have Gundam coming out from Legendary, and they've been talking that.
I'll believe that when there's a date.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about that since the
I think
since the live stream episode.
It's in the development hell pit with My Hero Academia and
Akira.
Akira, yeah.
Akira, and the American Attack on Titan. Like they have a big hole where they put all these adaptations.
and the American Your Name as well.
The American Naruto's at the bottom. It's providing the
It's the
foundational
It's the
compost
bed.
layer for the other series that are going to be canceled.
Kevin, anything on the watch read you want to mention?
I'm trying to think. What have I read that's not H manga?
Sure.
I think all I really remember reading was I read Haganai Volume 7.
That's it.
Yeah, like so this is the part where spoiler alert for people who didn't read or watch Haganai. Did you watch that show or read that, James?
I probably watched the first season and stuff like that, and saw a bit of the manga, but that was a bit out on it. Maybe I think that was based off a light novel, wasn't it? I'm not sure if that ever came over. Was that from Seven Seas? I know they did the manga.
The manga came out. The light novels never did.
That's what I thought.
But they did release the author's next work, which was A Little Sister's All You Need, which is already sounds skeevy on its own. But in any case, this is where Yozora cuts her hair. Mm-hmm. So because the setup is that her and the main character, whose name I forgot, they were childhood friends, but he always thought that she was a boy because she had short hair and like dressed like a boy. And obviously when you're like in third or fourth grade,
elementary school,
all that stuff, right? So then she finally cut her hair to tell him like, hey, that was me. And so like she's hoping that now that the dynamic will shift because it's implied that she still likes him. It's that kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to see what will happen next because I kind of forgot what happened at the end of season 2 of the anime other than him just running away somewhere, but and then there was no third season. But so I've just been very slowly reading through that as I try and make some time to read for myself. in between like buying Hololive trading cards and being on Twitch at night.
Oh, you're active in doing stuff.
And I'm slowly trying to go through another Coterie collection as well. I finally picked that up again.
Nice work. James.
Well, let's see. I think I already told you what I was doing last time, but I did order something. I'm intrigued to actually finally play it when it is imported to me for my Switch in July, which is
Chained Echoes?
No, 70s style robot anime Geppy X. And so Geppy X, this was originally on the PlayStation and stuff like that. It was over 4 discs. And it was like they were doing the 70s mech anime shoot 'em up side scroller, but they were doing it literally like an anime. So they had an opening, an ending, they had a commercial break, they had like the next episode. And so it was, you went over 8 episodes and the anime was you doing the shoot 'em up with the giant robot and stuff like that. And depending on certain things you did, they actually had different animation sequences. In between.
It's actually interesting.
So they did that over 4 discs for the PlayStation. I think they did that in the late 90s, and they did get some really nice Japanese voice actors and stuff. Never obviously came over to North America given the climate back then, you know what I mean? It would have been too niche. So they are, I think, going to bring it over digitally to PS5 and the Switch. But they do have physical editions, obviously, over in Japan. And so I'm getting the one from, I think it's Brain Bliss is the one, and they have done some work before. I think Monster World 4, the creator of that. So that's the Wonder Boy series, which is very convoluted to explain and stuff like that. Yeah. But they did, like, the creator of that from Westone did a remake of the original Genesis game of Monster World 4, and Brain Bliss was involved in that. And I enjoyed the game. And so I think they'll do a great job on this. And their talking points are great, that they're like, yes, it's not just about making sure we get the side scrolling for the shoot 'em up right, because sometimes there can be delay in that. It's also about the animation, that it's the proper frames per second and all that other stuff, because it actually is like they're doing an anime that you can play. So that'll be fun to play probably late July when that comes over to me. So it's when you see those type of games. So I think it should come over digitally. And if not, you can import the physical from Japan, because it does have multiple language options, not just Japanese, but English. And let's see, what other ones do they have on there?
Spanish, French?
No, the 2 Chinese versions, simplified traditional and Korean. So, but we do have English, so that'll be fun to see and stuff like that. And then I told you, Mike, I went last Saturday to the Toronto Game Expo. They biannual edition. So there was no guest there, but they did have the a Tetris tournament, and I guess they're trying to get into the Tetris Worlds.
That's cool.
In California. But that's interesting. So they were playing the NES version, and it's just crazy watching these people play, because they're trying to get scores, and then you're just going left, and just waiting for that one long piece so that they can then get the points and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
There's style to that game.
And then how they throw some of the blocks the right, it's like, oh, now I see what they're doing. It's like, I just can't do that. Even though they had a free play area where you could like play and stuff like that.
It feels almost more like a Rubik's Cube than a video game.
It's these days, yes. I mean, the way I see people play Tetris, and like at its highest level these days, and it's usually the NES version.
Yeah, I played it on Netflix, because Netflix has a game section now. I played it with a friend 2 or 3 weeks ago when I visited them, because they have a newborn. And it was pretty cool, because like you can trigger an event where it will cause it to then be a different style of Tetris from the past, and then it adds a level of difficulty to you to try and get out of that scenario to bring it back into like the modern version.
It was interesting. They're still growing. Like they have the game tables and stuff like that. The artist alley, it's interesting seeing the different things in the artist alley, and there's so many creative things, a lot of crocheting, as I said last time, which is still there. And they got tattoo artists now, supposedly. They're
what? Sorry?
Tattoo artists. That's what they were trying to get this time. And
like,
they got
were people actually getting tattoos.
And that's the thing. I'm wondering how they would make that happen and stuff like that, because I saw them there, but I'm like, I didn't go over to ask them, do I have to ask you and then go, you know what I mean, go to their salon or something like that, you know, because that's what
more likely.
Because that's what it seems more likely.
But scenario,
the
health and safety.
But that's what I think is likely the scenario, because when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's interesting, but I'm guessing it's to promote their studio and stuff like that. That's what my guess is. And then they had indie artists, so you could try their games, and then they had a free play area and tournaments. And I know part of the gaming at Anime North, they're usually there and help out with some of the free play area and with Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt seems to be everywhere they go.
With the indie stuff, it's really nice that there's a place now that TCAF doesn't do the little...
Yeah, that was with the Hand-Eye Coordination Society and stuff like that, and I think they have an involvement there. But yeah, they were involved, remember, with TCAF, and they would have a space there. They would have been at Bento Miso way back in the day, and it was just fun to go and try out some different games you're not used to. And people seem to be really into building deck builders. Not my type of game, but it's interesting to see these different genres. You know what I mean?
So we have a friend of the show who went to the Gaming Expo just to look for a Game Boy Micro. Okay. He did find it. Nice. He did buy it. It did cost a lot of money because it was complete in box.
That's what I was going to say. It probably would cost.
I think it was sealed even.
And was it the one that you could put the different plates on? I'm thinking that game. Yeah, that's what it had.
I think he said he paid $700.
Oh, well, that's not as bad as the in-box, fully sealed Majora's Mask new 3DS, which I told you was $950.
Oh, yeah.
Or which is crazy. Of Earthbound.
Well, I've been seeing like our versions that we actually play of our 3DSs. Like, it's crazy how much those have went up. Like, I go and I see some games I have. I'm never going to let them go for certain ones. And it's just insane how much they've went up. And some of them I think of are East, like the East special editions for PSP and stuff like that are in the hundreds of dollars and stuff. And I said, well, that's nice, but you have to find a person to actually buy that. And then the other adventure of going to the Gaming Expo was getting there, because it was in the Enercare Center. It's going to be back at the Better Living Center in November, and luckily it will not conflict with Anime Revo this year. It's going to be the weekend before. But the Enercare Center, I'm like, I'll just go there. So I'm going there, and I walked the whole building and had to walk all the way behind, because part of the Enercare Center, I guess, is at the back. Yeah. That's the older building, right beside Coca-Cola Coliseum, which I guess is all connected, because remember, you have the horses and all that stuff. Yeah,
actually,
so it was in an older part.
It's which actually was where they did the gaming part of the CNE, when they used to do that. Which is an interesting...
But it was interesting to be there, and so I did walk around the whole thing just to get there. I should have just went down Manitoba Street.
I heard the VIP sucked though.
Well, that's why I only went for the one day, and I just do the regular. I think it's
so. A friend of the show also bought the VIP, but the main motivation was so that I can get in an hour early.
And that's, I think, the only motivation is to get in
Game Boy, right?
To get in early to get those rare things, right? If you think they're there,
that's worth it to him. Like, I don't know, he doesn't always listen to the show, but he is the type that will always want to be there first thing to get the things that he wants. So he thought there was value in that, and that's obvious. He's right.
Well, it was interesting. The one thing I did buy there was I regretted. Originally, I think for the Switch, because I got a trade-in for it, and then I rebought was Ever Oasis and stuff like that for the 3DS, and it was a real good price. I got it for $30 straight and stuff like that. So and it was the North American version, not the version where some that are flowing around now for later 3DS games are the UAE versions.
Yeah.
So United Arab Emirates, somehow they kept the same region as North America.
Yes.
So that's how some people were importing them back into North America for like Captain Toad, Ever Oasis, and there were a few others that were late games that only had smaller print runs.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I was just going to say, I know Mike is antsy to finish up, but aside from One Piece, I did want to mention a show that people aren't talking about called The Darwin Incident.
That's an anime, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just got licensed for the manga too,
I
right?
love
been out for a little
Stone,
bit, yeah.
But mentioning the Darwin Incident is important because it's a super weird show. The premise is the first human Z is there, and it's a show that takes place all in the United States. In the southern United States, it's a weird show.
When I finished season 2 of Dr. Stone on Prime, that's the show that they recommended right after.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
And was that
It's
Netflix or was it Prime? Prime. I thought it was Prime. That's
It's
what
a
I meant.
mature show. There's an entire 2 episodes, so they have to give a warning because there are sensitive topics, and the sensitive topics aren't that there's a humanity. So just a weird show. If anyone wants something absolutely unique, I would give that a shot. But if you want something good, Dr. Stone.
And the manga is released by Kodansha.
That's why I thought Kodansha. But it's interesting that as we had talked about Amazon Prime, that they're definitely going after a few big shows each season, and it's just interesting that they're in the conversation with Netflix and them. So even though Crunchyroll has the stranglehold. But the last thing I was going to say, Mike, is funny going down to the X grounds to that Toronto Game Expo was that I literally did not have a seat on the GO train. I was standing the whole time because we forgot there was a friendly game at BMO Field between Iceland and Canada. And so we got to see the new temporary stands and stuff like that, which was right to the food building for the north and then right to the south. So I'm sure they got a good workout with the friendlies. The past 2 games, the one when I went on Saturday and the one on Tuesday.
So yeah, Toronto Stadium, where Italy isn't going to show up.
I think it's okay that Italy didn't make it. I think it's better for the city that way. Go Canada. Better chance of us winning.
Probably a little bit more unified against Bosnia.
I'm just going to quickly do like some
before we go
event stuff.
Oh, okay. Yes, quickly. I'll forego my read and watch until the stream. Okay.
Okay, sure. So there's a VTuber con that's going to happen the first weekend of May.
I think we brought this up already.
We may have, yeah. So that's Oshi Uplink, the Saturday, the Sunday of. So they've now announced some big guests. Like it seems like they're really trying to swing for the fences. So Iron Mouse is a guest now. I think Made Mint is a guest now. Mint Phantom is a guest. We usually call her Made Mint because there's other VTubers that are also called Mint. There's a couple other big ones that I don't recall anymore, but like they're definitely trying to, and obviously it's virtual, so it's easier to get these guests, but they're actually trying, and this is year 1. So they're trying. So we'll see how that turns out. I think I might cave and buy the weekend pass. There's no day passes. I think it's $50 for the Saturday and the Sunday. And then
how it compares with Anime North, but
and Anime North got 2 big VTuber guests, which one was Matura Khan, who does live in Canada, and so who knows if she shows up, and Zentreya, who's was also part of VShojo with Iron Mouse and Matara Khan and a few others, but I think Anime North announced their musical guests too.
Who they got?
They're a group called I Don't Like Mondays, if I remember correctly.
Starfleet doesn't like Mondays either.
They're a smaller act, but they've done a couple of anime songs.
4 English voice actors have also been announced for Anime North. I guess we'll go through this just quickly. Adam Gibbs, Gary Chalk, Alan Lee, and Carrie Savage have all been announced.
Carrie Savage I haven't heard about in a while.
I'm looking at some of these the roles associated with her. Yeah, it's a bit old school there. Also worth noting, as of now, since Kevin and I like doing this, the Nominoichi signups have been ongoing and will go until Monday.
Yep.
Put signed your name in the lottery.
I've signed up. Have you signed up yet?
Not yet, so I'll try to remember. It's a long weekend.
My friends have signed up too.
Anyway, as I said, I'll defer on what I'm reading and watching because I've already hinted some.
I also feel like it sucks we didn't really get a chance to talk about that yellow pound cake, James.
What?
If you listen to the last episode.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
I didn't get to that part yet. Then
listen to the last episode on the topic of on real pastries.
Hey yo, shout out to Sweet Trolley Bakery in the Junction, little sweet little shop, voted #1 best cinnamon rolls in Toronto. Check them out.
By you.
By me.
It's well, and it's, this time Mo didn't spill something.
I bought a cup.
One last thing, and since that says Tim Hortons on it, our old friend Jesse Betteridge mentioned that Tim Hortons in Korea is doing an Anne of Green Gables promotion.
Why have they not done that here?
Well, and that leads me to Dave Merrill's thought to end off the episode, which basically goes like, does the Anne of Green Gables Foundation really want to associate with Tim Hortons these days? Here, anyway.
Yeah.
Because just based on quality alone, and that's
Well, they're doing the moon bits in London, Ontario, Mike.
just saying.
It just shows how, like, because they have to compete elsewhere, that's why they go up market abroad. They don't need to here because we're used to mediocrity here.
That is Dave Merrill's point exactly. I think. That's as much as we got. Hopefully, I can do a stream and then I'll go through a few other things. Bit of show and tell and probably figures to show off at that point too. But that's it for Easter weekend here. And next time maybe I'll tell. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the other candies and sweets around. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, leave us your comments below, or go to animeroundtable.com for all the ways you can reach us, or just most socials at Anime Roundtable. But animeroundtable.com does have direct links to the socials, the YouTube, the Twitch accounts. As for the podcast side, please leave us a review if you can, wherever you get your podcasts, as it would greatly help us. Hopefully 5 stars.
Hopefully.
And once again, since I've been doing Twitch and YouTube a little bit more often, although not in about a month, give us a follow or subscribe there so you can be notified whenever we go live or put up something new. Also, if you have a Spotify account, please check out the Anime Roundtable playlist for a list of music based on things we've mentioned before. Opening theme song is FUBUKI Snowstorm by Pico Masaki, and you could listen to any anime podcast in the world, but you decide to listen to one of the oldest, 20 plus years and counting. We appreciate that. So that's it. Until next time, thanks for listening and maybe watching on YouTube. Good night from Toronto. Happy Easter. And join us again for another edition of the Anime